Hello, everyone. So next slide, please. So I'm Houssen Ben Amor, actually uh, an indie game studio as a business developer. Also, I'm the treasurer at Global Game Jam Inc. If you know the biggest hackathon of game development in the world, and also regional coordinator for Africa and MENA region at the IGDA, the International Game Developers Association. For the Tunisian Game Developers Association, we founded during 2012 to promote the game development in Tunisia and gather all the developers and do all that kind of stuff like events, etc. So we are actually moving and doing things next. So during this talk, we're gonna talk about like the pipeline shortly and briefly, the pipeline of how we can create an online game and especially a multiplayer game. So the first step we should do is to think about the game idea. Without any doubt, this is the most important part of creating a multiplayer or an online game. You need an idea, and it has to be a good one. If you want to make some serious money, you know, it needs to appeal to a mass audience because there is a lot of games around on Steam, on Google Play, etc. So you have to think a lot about your game idea, and you have to enjoy your game first of all. You have to see while you are thinking about the idea if you're gonna enjoy the game that you will create or not. Also, we we can check what is trending right now on the multiplayer online game, what's happening around, which is the games that are successful, and we analyze them to see why exactly they are successful. Analyze their mechanics, gameplay, and what happening exactly on these games. So we can take like an idea about which way we are going to work on our game. So then we can pick our genre of the game. We want to do a first person shooter, a mobile game, platformer, a puzzle game, etc. After that, study your target audience, which ask yourself these few questions. Are you focusing on mid-core, hardcore, casual gamers? Do you want to create games for adults who just need to fill their time in the subway, which is especially for mobile games like quick games, etc.? Or it's destined for kids, for adult women? What exactly? For example, Fortnite, it's generally designated for kids, not for adults, let's say, this kind of stuff. So you can even getting more in depth by knowing what kind of players you are focusing on. Shooter gamers and players, uh, sports, MOBA, RPG players, and it can be even a combination between two or three stuff. Let's take as an example Rocket League, which is I think it's can appeal to racing gamers who play car games and shooter maybe, and also football or handball players for like sports games, etc. And there is a lot of mechanics and genre on it. Next, please. So after I get an idea, what we should do exactly next, um, we have to think about the platform. Are we in this step? The first thing is to look if we are going to create a game for PC, for console, mobile, or even browser now. There is I don't know if you have an idea or not. There is a lot of people are focusing on browser porting like PC games on browser, which is cool. And let's see what's the future of the browser games will bring to us, because it's easy. You don't have to install anything. And also, when we think about the cloud gaming now, it will become more interesting for us as developers. So you can start with one option, like let's say you start with a PC game and move to other later when it becomes successfully and your game is stable and everything is going well. Then you can go to console, port your game to mobile or browser or whatever. So, but on the one, smartphones have been quietly rapidly overtaking the gaming market so far. We know this already. But on the other hand, games for desktop are still unsurpassed in their visual quality and complexity. So on PC console, you can like do more stuff like in visual and doing this stuff on one browser. So you have to think about it first. So after that, we have to think about the gameplay mechanics. So I see sometimes like some confusion between these two terms, like gameplay and mechanics. So let's make it a bit clear. Game mechanics are the rules of the game, in which the player follow within the game. But the gameplay is what actually takes place when a player plays the game. So let's take an example. Missions are the game mechanics, but completing and engaging with that mission is the gameplay. I don't know if you got the idea or no. Let me know later after this talk if you have more questions about this topic, because it's huge and I can't go in depth on it because I don't have a lot of time. So let's come back to our talk. Think about the online game you enjoy the most. You like I don't know, Super Mario, you like Apex Legend, FIFA or whatever, and try to analyze, like I said, these games. Like break the game and see what exactly the mechanics of the game, and what is the gameplay of this game, what makes this game is successful first of all, and why you enjoy this game while playing. Uh, as an example, let's take example the game Tetris. So we can broken down this game into four game mechanics, which is rotations, how you can route the blocks, and the randomizers. When the blocks are spawning, you don't know how they are spawning, and what exactly the pieces will come after that. And the scoring system. When you break down a block, you get some points. Mobility, so you can go left and right, also down. It's all this four stuff: rotation, randomizer, scoring system, mobilities are the game mechanics of. It's not the gameplay, it's the mechanics. Next, please. So I have my idea. I have a great idea, and then what I have to do? Just start to study your target audience. Uh, as I said, you have to know your game. It's destined to whom exactly? For midcore, hardcore, or casual gamers. Uh, Ask yourself: do you want to create a game for those who just need to fill their time in the subway, destined for kids, adults, etc.? Uh, so yeah, this is very important because uh, while you are creating and working through your idea, you have to think about a niche, which is the players are in need for more games in this niche. For, let's take an example. There is a lot of first-person shooter games right here. For example, when we were thinking about the idea of the game that I'm working on, Veterans Online, we said, okay, there is a lot of first-person shooter, and we want to do shooter game. We like MOBA game like Dota, League of Legends, etc. And we can't never compete with those giant games. So let's do a mix, like a top-down shooter, which is the amount of games that exist in the market, which is top-down shooter games. It's not that huge. So this is a niche for us, and we can work on it. Next, please. Next. So your game should be addictive to players. Addictive games doesn't mean to be like or need to be complex. You just keep it simple. Instead, short levels with content players can unlock, and then come back effective, longer uh, playing session with complex sequences. So the main idea here is you should uh, you should make the player come back to play your game, and don't make him like play once and then stop it. You have to add some stuff to make the player come back again and again every day. So this is generally for all the platform and games. But remember, when developing for a mobile game, players don't want to be stuck trying to play very long sessions on a small screen. So we know that hardcore and midcore players are on PC and consoles, etc. So they can spend a lot of time on a game. But on mobile games, generally the the length of playing sessions are very short when we compare it to PC and console. That uh, one another layer that we can make the game addictive, which is the progression system with unlockable. So a good example, since every multiplayer match, when you earn XP to go higher on rank, with for example, I don't know, let's take Apex Legends or whatever. All of the games are like that right now. So with certain ranks, you can unlock new stuff like weapons, new skins, maybe new sounds, or any kind of perks that help you to progress in the game. That can make the game addictive, which is the progression curves. Progression in general in video games comes in, let's say, in three levels and three varieties. The first one, which is the player, which is me and you playing the game. That's mean progression. Player progression refers to the person playing the game, improving their skills and knowledge of the design. So while we are playing the game, we get better and going from a noob to very skilled player on that game. The second one, which is the character inside the game, our avatar that we are playing with, becomes stronger and stronger. So the game, the game progression itself. So the game itself, when we are like moving through the various levels or areas of the game until you reach the credits, if it's a storytelling or whatever, like the division or whatever game, or you reach the highest rank or the end of a season, or when you finish a season pass or something like that. This is like the game progression. And at the end, it depends on the design of the game that you're gonna work on. Uh, Also, you can combine between these three varieties, and you like combine two them all on your game. But the important part is understanding what progression means to your game, so people can play in it and enjoying your game. Next. Ooh, so we have our idea and mechanics focus on exactly which players. So when you think about this, let's say the more players needed for a match, like on your game, the more concurrent daily active users are required, which is mean like when you need like 5 versus 5 to join or start a match, you will need a lot of players to fill your servers, and the matchmaking and the waiting time for joining a game will be less, and so you need more people to join your game, and to work a lot on your marketing to uh, to acquire more players for your game. So there is a difference between like battle royale, which need like 60 or whatever 100 player to just start, and between like two or four players to start a game. So you have to think about it. Then there is the matter of matching players against others with similar skills. Now we are talking exactly about the matchmaking system. So the matchmaking system is very important. Mess up with the matchmaking, you can make the player like hungry, and like they will quit your game, and you make the gameplay not fair. So let's say you are newbies, you just started the game and you found yourself with like high skilled or high ranked up players that you play against them, so you will fed up and quit the game. So yeah, let's focus a lot on the matchmaking system. Next, please. So all what we said before, it's something okay, feasible, so we can do it easily. But from now until the end of this talk, while we were working on Veterans Online, we found that the marketing and business of the game, it's the most important part. Maybe let's say the most hardest part for us as an indie studio from Africa. This part is very, very, very difficult. So let's start. When it comes to monetization, there are three main routes to revenue. I'm not saying only ways, but let's say the main ways to monetize your game. The first one, which is free to play. So you put your game free, and inside the game there is enough purchases that you can buy stuff, which is skins or whatever you want. Advertising, generally advertising is on mobile games, so you get money through ads. You know that on mobile games are very famous this business model, and also premium, which is you pay for a game and once, and you play the game and that's it. Uh, Also, you can combine between the three of them. Like, let's say you want to combine like a premium game, like watch. You buy the game, and also inside the game there is an in-app purchase that some stuff that you can buy inside the game. Next. Next, marketing. So uh, this is important for us. Uh, while, as I said, while we are working on veterans online, it's very very important and very very hard to do. Uh, Maybe you say marketing, it's not that hard, but when you start trying it and working on it, you will find a lot of challenges and a lot of stuff that you were not aware from them. So at the start, let's say when you spend money, you should spend money to get more money, which is mean, uh, for example, spend like 500,000 dollars on your marketing. So you are expecting to get 1 million returning back. Uh, but while you are working on the marketing campaign and strategy, try to ask yourself what's the total market at the start that you can reach. You are not going to do the whole market for like sports game players or shooter players or all the market. That's impossible. You should define what is your market and that fit your game exactly. And then what you can do with the budget that allows you to reach a percentage of those through organic and advertising. So depends of the budget and how much the budget you need to reach like few percentage from that market you already chosen. And let's explain here what is organic and advertising. The organic users and marketing is the player that you get, you acquire without paying money. And advertising, or let's say paid user, it's the users that you paid some like campaigns and you paid money for marketing campaign to get that user. So from that point, you can follow the path to user acquisition, which should ideally start before even the game is ready. So while you are working on developing the game, you should think and start working on the user acquisition and marketing. How? Just get people excited about the game, especially try to find like potential influencers, streamers on Twitch or Verb, uh, who can like test your game and review it, give some feedbacks, and they can share it. So with that, you can get like organic users in the future without paying any stuff. So what's the ways and how we can do like marketing and user acquisition? So there are multiple strategies that could work well for this, but it's not like a secret sauce like 1 plus 1 equal 2. There is no like formula that lead you to a successful marketing or user acquisition campaign. So you have to try, you have to focus on the market you are targeting, and just try to keep your user base active and to focus on the parts of your game that make it stand out from the bunch of games that are in the industry. So how we can uh, let our user base and players active by simply creating channels on Twitter, uh, Discord, like especially Reddit. Actually, Reddit it's very important on the game development. The- Reddit can help you a lot doing your marketing of your game and make people talking about your game and getting feedbacks and all this stuff. Um, Also, making daily posts about new content, new stuff, what are you developing right now, what comes next, etc. So keep your user base and players informed about what you are doing actually and what coming next, so they can give you more feedbacks, and you keep them engaged with you, and don't let them leave your game or forget about your game during the time. Another stuff, which is advertising campaign, which is there is a lot of website that doing like ad for games. Like you can put some banners in famous gaming website, or this kind of stuff. Also, one of the most important ways, which is contact like streamers and game influencers on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook. So how you gonna do that? Just identify your game's unique selling point. What make your game different from other in the genre of your game, and use that when reaching out to that streamers or influencers. Why? So you can offer them an opportunity to make a great content, because there is a lot of influencers and streamers. They they don't play games only for money. There is some influencers, they want to play funny games and cool games to create more content for their fans. So make sure also that influencer you will contact uh, fit exactly the profile of your game and the genre of your game. If your game is a shooter game, don't contact. It's not necessary to contact or streamer only FIFA or POS or sports games. So this is not fit your game. So 100% will not accept to play your game or do a review about your game. So think about that also. Next, please. So now let's talk about the technical challenges. So uh, every multiplayer will face challenge. Creating an effective from let's say from creating an effective matchmaking system that satisfies players, fighting back against the specter of flag, especially here in Africa. Let's say the most countries in Africa, like the lag, it's something horrible, and preparing for the dropped connection that we have in the continent. This is very challenging for us as a developer, especially multiplayer game developers, not all the game developers. And this is depends also from the platform also. uh, the matchmaking and connections, lag, etc., the differ from like a game developer working on a PC game than another one that working on a multiplayer game on mobile. This is not the same challenges, not the same stuff. Another thing that we should also think about is the game servers in general, and the scalability of the game server. Let's say you should think about the worst and the good from the start. Don't say that your game will not be famous. Let's imagine you created a game and the servers are not scalable, and you were thinking about that there is few people will play your game from the start, and your servers will can handle this number of players. And then boom, when you release your game on million or thousands of people wanted to join the game, so they can do it because your servers are not scalable, depending on the number of players connecting in. So this is can can like be a bad stuff for you if you don't make your servers scalable from the start. Also, the performance of the servers, you have to choose and good performance servers and that stuff. The same thing for the majority of African country, which is dealing with networks, with lag. So you have always to optimize your game to make it work smoothly, depending on the network that we have. So we don't get that lag, that huge lag that we have, especially in countries like here in Africa, the internet infrastructure. Let's say in Tunisia, at least, the infrastructure of internet is not that good. That we are suffering with that and dealing with this problem. Even if the game it's for worldwide, but also think about that. The problem of cheating. We know we have to work on an anti-cheat system, and this is not easy. So at least the main solution that we found on Veterans Online is to work all the main stuff, make them on the server side, not on local side. So people when they are cheating, they use what you put as features and input on the local side. So when you put everything on the server side, that can reduce the risk. So actually, if you miss in one of these points, that can make the game unplayable. I'm pretty sure that you know what I'm talking about when we say game unplayable with the lag, with the bad connection, etc. And then creating an effective matchmaking system. So you have to ask yourself from the start, as I said, what are the minimum and maximum number of players your game needs to run effectively. So you need 10 players, 5 versus 5, or 4 players, 2 versus 2, etc. How many players you need. So this information will help you also on the game server, on the server side also. How much difference will you accept in skill between players, like the ranks, etc.? How you will deal with that? What's the criteria you want to put on that layer? How long will you wait for a match connection to be made? You want to wait like 60 seconds to start, or 1 minute, or maybe even less. It depends, and this is can make a difference for the player and the experience of the player. So, do you allow players to join once a match has already begun, like rejoin? We see a lot of a lo- in a lot of games that they allow a rejoin feature also. So you have to think about all this stuff. You are working on the matchmaking system and game server, etc. Next, please. So we are on conclusion number 10, please. So it's you can see the pipeline. It's not different. It's something standard. Someone from Africa or someone from Europe, US, Asia, whatever, will pass through all this pipeline. But in Africa, what's different is we have a lot of problem. Let's say in the most of the countries, and I'm talking about Tunisia, where I'm in, and where we developed Veterans Online. So we had the problem of the internet and infrastructure connection. We had the problem of the payment system. So in Tunisia we can't uh, buy things online. There is like a governmental restriction, etc. So even when we want to pay like Amazon or Unity or any kind of service online, we are dealing with challenges to pay that because we can't pay online. We don't have PayPal, etc. All this stuff. What else? Also, creating a multiplayer online game need a lot of money. And in Africa, I think we don't have, as I know, we don't have like a huge amount of investors that can invest on multiplayer games, which is need a lot of money, especially for the marketing and user acquisition. Uh, you can create a game which is perfect technically and enjoyable and a good quality game, etc. But without uh, a huge amount of money uh, to do the marketing and user acquisition, uh, this is mean nothing. So you have that. Maybe in Europe and US, they have the chance that the industry there it's stable and they have a lot of investors there. They are old in the industry, so they take this stuff as basic things. But for us in Africa, it's not like something basics. It's something like special for us, and we are really in need for this stuff. But one of the solution for that is to find a publisher and to find a publisher for multiplayer game, especially free to play. It's not that easy. Let's say like Broforce from South Africa, indie game studio Free Leaves. They did a good job and they were successfully, etc. But they didn't market the game like self-publishing by themselves. A publisher did it for them. So this is this can be a solution also. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my talk and everything was clear. Please let's keep in touch. You can talk to me by email, by WhatsApp, whatever you want, LinkedIn, whatever. And thank you, Feja, for the invitation. And see you soon.